Hi, my name is Professor William Touponce. I'm the director of the Center for Ray Bradbury Studies here at the Institute for American Thought. Ray Bradbury, in case you may not know, is one of the most famous, well-known American authors of science fiction and fantasy post-World War II. His fame starts with 1950s, The Martian Chronicles, and goes on through such books as Dandelion Wine, Something Wicked This Way Comes, and a whole host of movies and a television show called the Ray Bradbury Theater, which was also well known on syndicated TV in the 1980s. The purpose of the Ray Bradbury Center is to spread the knowledge of Bradbury's works, but also to increase the academic understanding of Bradbury. Bradbury is not only a popular science fiction writer, he's also someone who transcended that genre and became a well-known just American author. In fact, he's won a National Book Award and also recently a Pulitzer Prize. So we have someone who went famously from pulp fiction writing to becoming an acknowledged American author, really part of the canon. So the purpose of the center is to spread knowledge about his works, and with that in mind, we have really two ongoing projects here. One is the journal called the New Ray Bradbury Review, and in that review we include reviews of Bradbury's most recent published works. We have articles pertaining to his fiction and also an archives section. And a little bit later on, I'll have Dr. Eller, who is my colleague here, explain to you what exactly we have here in terms of holdings of Bradbury's writings. Now, the journal, which I just referred to, the New Ray Bradbury Review, comes out once a year, and we plan to have our inaugural issue will be coming out pretty soon. In that issue, we will have a kind of complete overview of Bradbury's adaptation into other media. So we're not just concerned with Bradbury as a literary author, but also his adaptation to radio, to film, and to comics, and to drama. The other project that we have ongoing here is an edition, like the other editions that you will see here on this tour. We also have an edition published by Kent State University Press called The Collected Stories of Ray Bradbury, a chronological edition. Bradbury's stories over the years have been sometimes written, and the difference between writing and publishing can be sometimes 20, 30, 40 years. A story that was written in the 50s may not find its way into print until a collection in the 1980s. So what we've done with this chronological edition is to publish the stories in the order in which they were written, so that we can study Ray Bradbury's development as a writer. So that's a major project. It's going to take us about 5 years to do that. Those are the two projects that we have ongoing. You can see behind me here that we also have a pretty good collection of Bradbury stuff up at the top. There are paperbacks and then trade, then hardcover editions. Then we begin with the criticism down here. But on the other side of this shelf, there's also our holdings in science fiction and fantasy, which are really a backup to the study of Bradbury. But we have approximately 2,000 volumes of fantasy and science fiction, making it one of the largest collections, single collections, in the United States. So that's basically, briefly, what it is we are and what we do here. And we welcome you to come and please come and visit us and see the Bradbury Center. And Dr. Eller have more to say about the archive holdings. Thank you.
The Bradbury Center is the most recently developed research component of the Institute for American Thought. Why study Ray Bradbury at the university? We have two resident faculty, two of us, who have worked with Mr. Bradbury on a number of projects and publications over the last 2 decades. But in a broader sense, one of the central goals of the Institute is to promote public research and understanding of American thought and culture. And the resources of the Bradbury Center support that goal in very significant ways. Bradbury is, of course, one of the central and most significant American cultural figures of the 20th century and beyond. And he's worked in a broad range of American literary genres, as well as radio, television, stage drama, motion pictures, graphics, comics, and illustration and magazine history. And to have the center here really adds a wonderful, rich dimension to the Institute for American Thought. The archives of the Bradbury Center include over 2,000 volumes. Many of these are Bradbury's primary works in short fiction, collected fiction, and novels, as well as all his media work, including his teleplays of the Ray Bradbury Theater. We have copies of those teleplays here. These 2,000 volumes include the primary works, also many volumes in general reference for Bradbury and broader study of science fiction, fantasy, horror genres of literature as well. Most interestingly, though, we have here at the Bradbury Center the only authorized photocopies of Bradbury's personal papers and the papers from a major private collection as well. So we have not only his published work, but we have the draft manuscripts, which in most cases, almost always, are typescripts. Bradbury composed almost exclusively at the typewriter. And of these typescripts, we have early drafts and finished drafts of many of his stories and some of his novels, as well as galley proofs and page proofs, corrected page proofs for a number of his works here by courtesy of Mr. Bradbury and his principal private collectors. And we have those here on file, along with many of his early publications of in the pulp magazines. We have the many early issues of the 1940s and 1950s pulp magazines in which Bradbury got his start as a writer, such as this issue here of Planet Stories. Another very important aspect of our work here with the Bradbury Center involves Bradbury's correspondence, his professional correspondence over 7 decades of his career. We have, again, in many cases, the only authorized photocopies of the correspondence to Mr. Bradbury from his papers. So like the other scholarly editions here in the Institute, the Bradbury Center is an excellent place for resident and visiting researchers to study Bradbury's correspondence, not in the original forms, but in an all-source gathered photocopy set of as much of his correspondence as we've been able to locate around the country and overseas.